Where is it? This is me versus CT. Yep. Where is it? Alright. Also, I got OBS whiteboard, so hopefully I can try to use that instead of just my mouse. I'm used to using just my mouse, but having the actual colors will be nice. Yeah. So I played CT twice. Tournament? Yeah, I did. Played him in winners to get this guy, and then I fought him in losers finals. I feel like if he had to pick a character that would require him probably to like least learn the matchup, I'd say it's like Soul maybe. I think like no matter what, he's gonna have to like learn the matchup. There's like no way around that, obviously. Like, like us playing, you know, like at the level we do, it's like you just kind of have to learn the matchup. Not much you can do about it, right? What the heck? Like, there's not that much you can do about it. But of the characters he plays, I'd probably say that Soul to me feels like the one that has to earn the matchup the least, because like you can't really run your offense with Elphelt like the way you normally would, right? God, it's like too loud. Yeah. So it's like it's tough in that sense, where it's like he can't do the things he normally does with Elphelt, right? But I do think she's probably on paper like the best one to use. Actually, I don't know. It's like about the same between her and Soul. Just as long as he's not going Kai. I think Kai is kind of like a waste if he has the two other characters. Yeah. Oh, and then against, it's kind of funny actually. I think against Elphelt at round start, it's like she has so many strong normals to press at round start that you'd think like Crouch Azami or like Susan on round start would be like the go-to. But if you guess wrong, her damage output in corner carry is usually like a little too intimidating. Like she's another character I don't like to let get started, right? So I don't try to play too much round start RPS with her. I usually just back off. And then this is kind of unfortunate because I kept getting miss inputs throughout the set whenever this would happen. Like CT would set up the gun, right? But the thing about this is like once, like right there, see, he was trying to set up like the unblockable shot, which is what I figured he would do because he expected, I'm guessing he expected me to Azami here on like wake up, but I wanted to do Suzanon on wake up because Suzanon moves you forward, and as soon as I would do it, I would just commit to running slash because it would stop like right around here, right? So like, oh, where is it? So like if you do Suzanon, you'd go like right here basically, right? You'd stop like right in front of them, and they wouldn't block the running slash, which is pretty important only because it means that like they have less time to react to the situation because it's not like being forced on block or anything like that. So I think it's super unfortunate that I missed that like multiple times in the set because that was like a really important thing to get out of the sniper pressure early, but I was just never ready for it basically. Yeah, so I eat what, like half my health bar to this stuff. I also don't think he needed to put the sniper away, if I'm being honest. The thing about Biken is like from here, I don't have fast options. Like you can keep that rifle out for a bit. Like I don't know, look at how far I am when he gives up on the rifle. I think you legitimately just keep rifling until she's on top of you, because she's not gonna outzone you. So it's like, what are you scared of? None of the zombie follow-ups would hit from there. So I would 100% just snipe up from that distance. Then once you see them move forward, you can give up. Yeah, I don't get the counter hit on that though. You get a knockdown off of that, yeah. Oh, I missed my micro dash. Yeah, I kind of figured he'd burst here. It just seemed kind of likely. I also usually get to wait half a second before I press a button off a counter hit jump H. Counter hit jump H is fat. A lot of times you can wait like half a second and then press 5K, and it'll still combo most of the time. But I miss my micro dash forest and don't get the punish, and then I get caught running into 6H. I'm not sure why he went to 6H, but I'm still watching my sets. I try to do analysis for all my sets, even the ones I win, which is realistically less productive. But I figure I was gonna do it and then put them all on YouTube. I'm just kind of far behind. This is an entirely different tournament. This is like two tournaments ago. This isn't even the one night that just happened or the one before that. It's the one before that. I'm just behind. Good instant block. Yeah, that's tough. I should have, so like right here, let's get on him. Those are really good blocks. If you instant block that jump H out of Viken, you basically force her to do Yazansen. Because it's the only way that she stays safe off of that sequence, right? So if you IB this IED jump H, and this is true for every character, not just Elphelt, but if you IB this, it reduces the frame advantage enough. At least if she did it instantly. If she did it descending, then even on IB, the throw isn't guaranteed because of how strong the air normal is. But if she does it off of an IED immediately like this, like you can see it coming out like right here, pretty much everyone can throw this if she commits to doing it earlier like that, right? So as soon as I see the IB, I just Yazansen, right? Because I'm like, okay, I need to do Yazansen. You do Yazansen RC just in case they randomly get caught, right? Because they're like, oh, he's about to land. Maybe I'll just like return a crouch block or something. So you do Yazansen, and then if Yazansen doesn't hit, you have to RC just to not get punished. Because right there, that height and at that distance, it's just a true punish. They can you just land and they can press like 5k, and you're done. I make it safe. I messed up there. The crouch confirm means I could have done 2S to Tommy. I wouldn't have gotten a knockdown, but I would have gotten some damage, some extra damage. I would have gotten like one dust loop off of it with no knockdown. But it's better than just doing this reset. This reset's really lazy. I missed my dust loop. I got lucky. This is one of those things where it's kind of like the Johnny effect, but with Elphelt, right? Where anytime they kind of like anytime they mess up in spots like that, I'm always kind of just assuming you're gonna pick a button or special or something. Your character's so strong in some way or another that I'm just gonna assume that you're gonna press a button because that's just what you get to do against everybody else usually, right? I got the hit. How did I mess it up? It's a hard situation. What do you mean? Oh, you mean the dust loop? Screw you. You don't know what it means to time combos. Get out of here. I'll have my combos require me to air dash and time the air dash. That shit matters. If it's like 2 or 3 frames off, it's like really weird timing. Oh, because I didn't do the right combo. That's why. Because I messed that up. That's the wrong combo to do right here. That's legitimately just the wrong sequence. Off of that string, I see that they're crouching. So I should have done 2S. If they had been standing, then it's okay to do the 2H. Because what's the difference? The difference is I get way more damage. Way more damage. Because off of Forest, you do 2S, and then you do Tatami, and it combos now because it's crouch state. So she would get popped up, I would get jump S, jump D, and then I would air dash, jump S, jump D one more time. So instead of being at this much HP, she'd be like at this much HP. Right? You can see that difference. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, it would be that big of a difference at least. So, like, that's actually awful that I messed that up. Going for the reset like that. Like, by my standards, that's like, dang, I should have messed that up. Like, you have plenty of time to hit confirm on the Forest, or the 2k Forest sequence to see that they're crouching. Come on. What do you mean? That's like, I'm not even capping. Like, I do that all the time in matches. Normally, I hit confirm Forest 2S. There, instead of doing a reset, really. You can do the reset if they're, I'm stomping this full. This set was like hella even. Yeah, see, like, I'm telling you, he just needed to keep the sniper out. Sniper was so good for him. It's pretty, without like committing to something crazy, it's pretty hard for Biking to deal with the sniper. You need to usually get a Susan on out early. See, like that was bad too. That was bad too. That's that 2H is a knockdown. If I recognize the 2H, can't I just armor through? Have you ever seen how fast Elphelt shoots her rifle? It's pretty hard to get anything out if she does it right. Look how fast this rifle fires. Fire, 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 Fire. Is it low? No, I just armor dash through it. No, I can armor dash. The point is that I have to time it. Suzanon is a 4-frame startup before you get armor. So if he's like catching me enough times, it's tricky to get it out. Because by the time you're recovering from getting hit by a shot, she's already reloaded is the idea. But yeah, but what I was saying is this 2H should have converted into a knockdown. I did the wrong follow-up. I saw the 2H hit and I did to Tommy thinking he was closer, but he was too far, so I got no combo. I should have done Rogan Zoki and it would have knocked him down. That was a really good crouch. This is really good to do as like pretty much anyone when you're fighting Baiken. I think it was on accident he stayed crouching that long, but in general, is a really smart thing to do with pretty much any character. Or you crouch beneath and as she's descending, you can press a normal if you have a normal that hits like that. Because you're going to turn around and catch her on the way down. And she can't do anything after whiffing that. Goes low. I messed up. I should have Azami'd him there. Because Elphelts are very used to doing this sequence. Because this sequence combos perfectly with Pineberry. Like the way it works. So if you know how this works, Elphelts will toss the nade on you. And as the nade is connecting with you, like the moment it's hitting you for Oki like this, they'll input sweep. Because if you do sweep into shotgun shot, it always combos like this. Like that. See, and the shotgun shot pops the nade. So they get to confirm even easier. Like for them, it's just if you ever get hit by the Pineberry on wake up, that sequence is automatic. Because by the time they're inputting the low, they've seen that you got hit. So they're gonna fire the gun and they're gonna get this confirmed. But the thing is, they don't hit confirm early enough that you can't Azami it. Yeah, I can soccer it right away. That's exactly why I'm saying I should have soccer it. Because normally Elphelts do that, because if you do anything, you get smoked, right? As long as you don't have a DP. Actually, no, yeah, if you do have a DP, right? She can space 2D around DP reversals, depending on the character, I'm pretty sure. If she does it right. So normally her doing that meaty sweep beats like hell with stuff. Like if you tap blitz it, it beats it because it's hitting meaty from too far away to get thrown. Some reversals get outspaced by it. And then that doesn't really leave you with anything else. If you backdash, the sweep catches you instead of the nade, I think. I want to say. But yeah, if you Sakura in that situation, if you Azami the grenade, they don't react fast enough. Right? Or sorry, it's not that they're not reacting fast enough. It's that they're supposed to input 2D at that specific timing. They can't wait to do it. Otherwise, it destroys the point of it. But yeah, I could have Azami'd there. I probably wanted to Azami and messed it up. Sometimes if you see me getting hit on wake up, but it's not counter hit, and I'm not like, there's no exclamation point that shows I was like holding up or something, like trying to chicken block out. A lot of the times it's just me missing the timing for Azami on wake up. Most of the time that's what it is. Shouldn't I just Azami every time on their Oki? No. Because her Oki off of Pineberry is so plus that she can just wait. Similar to other characters. She can just wait. And if she has the gun out, the punish is pretty good. Because counter hit shot, non-charged floats in the corner for them to get an extension. Yeah, round start. I do Kabari round start if I think one of these two things is gonna happen. Either you're gonna move forward like this, so like from round start positioning, it's like, let me see. I should make this bigger. Do like this. So like from round start positioning, it's either I think you're gonna move to like this spot right here, or I think you're gonna commit to moving forward. But I'm pretty much just assuming that you're not going to jump forward. Jumping back is fine. I don't really care if you jump back like that. Because by the time you're moving forward, I can just act out of the claw, right? But I'm going to claw as long as I think... as long as I don't think you're jumping forward. You'll see me do the claw. Because it's pretty good and it's just in those situations. It's just... I don't think you're gonna jump in at round start, and I also don't think you're gonna what's it called? I don't think you're gonna do a button at round start. Is why I do claw at round start. I'll mess up my delayed air dash. That's unlucky. I'm always kind of confused. So this has happened like multiple times when I fight CT. I'm not sure what he's going for, right? So he'll jump in spots like that. Maybe he just didn't hit confirm. I'm sure if he counter hit bridal, maybe that's just like an automatic sequence to bait instant burst, maybe the way he did that jump FD. But then he lands after Ayazami and presses close slash like that. So I'm never quite sure what he's doing here, because normally the way this works is as soon as you see Vikings with the Zami at like this situation, you can just land with the button. She can't Azami you off of it. She can maybe block if she lets it go early enough, right? Like, see, I wouldn't have been able to block. I would have been caught if he had come down with the button. He just would have caught me before I could even do anything, because I held the Azami a little too long. That time I just did it early. I did the Azami too early, so I got guard cancel Azami instead of an Azami in neutral. The animation is exactly the same, which is pretty obnoxious if you're not a Biken player, because like you just have to learn the difference between the two, like based on context, right? Because it's like if you see I go into Azami still in hit stun, or sorry, not hit stun, block stun, right? So even though it may look like I'm in a neutral state on Azami like that, I still got hit by 6H, which is mid, right? Not high. That was just me trying to do shit. She recovers basically instantly from like most of her follow-ups in the air. So the fact that I got a throw is like not surprising, but still fucked up that that's how that works. I mess up the Kita Tatame. He gets caught just like lingering in the air. Mess up the air confirmed. That was a really good delay tech in that situation. I didn't expect him to do that. I thought he'd commit to just tech FDing because he had already gotten caught by the claw. But if you see, it's important to know he didn't tech instantly, right? CT can tech like right around now-ish, we'll say. Like he can tech like pretty much from here, but he delays his tech, right? See, look how low he goes before he techs forward. And thanks to delaying his tech, he has enough invincibility to go through the later end of the claw like that and punish it, right? But if you insta tech it, it's generally gonna get punished. You need to delay the tech. Instant teching is just usually not that good because of how active the claw is. It usually catches you. That time I just held it. I got kind of unlucky. This is also just really dumb because I should have done Mawari Komi after I saw him jump. But I start holding Azami because I know the Pine Berry is there. I'm like, okay, well, unless he starts running up to do something, I'm just gonna hold it because I know Pine. See, like Pine Berry's still here. I even switched stand Azami like this, so I could have held it even longer because he jumped. But I tried to Sakura through the explosion just to not deal with it, but it's too active. That catches me. Either way, I should have done side switch. That whole interaction was kind of silly. Block. It sounds like a meme, but it's it's okay to block. You don't have to, just because Azami exists. Like I still could have Azami'd this. Why? Because he hit me meaty with Pineberry and did something instantly. Like I still could have Azami'd this, but I don't know. Just for the sake of like not being overly dependent on it. And also just like not throwing away rounds when I don't need to, right? Like why would I Azami here when you can see that I have all my bar, right? Like as long as I block a little bit, I might get some of his bar and then dead angle out if I need to. But there's really no reason to commit to an Azami where if I'm wrong somehow, I might just die like straight up and not get to use my meter at all, right? So it's like situations like that, you just want to block if you can with Biken. You don't need to like crutch Azami all the time. And this was just me figuring, like, I didn't even react to this. I know that people like to say that Elphelt command grab is reactable. I think it's like, what, like 18 frames or something like that? It's pretty fast for people to argue with the reactable command grab. Like, I don't really believe it at all, but I think it's like 18 frames. It's pretty fast. I might be wrong. Where is it? Not there. Further. Oh my goodness, that's not reactable. People are true. Wow, people are actually ridiculous. That's not reactable at all. 15 frames startup command grab. That's definitely not reactable. You just kind of have to assume that they're command grabbing you because nothing else has happened in the last like few seconds of interaction, right? Like for example, here I just kind of jump, right? The initial block sequence is like I'm just gonna block. Because of the thing I said, right? So like notice how CT has to spend 50 meter there. I'm still sitting on like almost the 100 bar. This is kind of what I was saying. It's like I just wanted to block for a while to see if I could get some resources out of him, and because I'm not in a rush to get out of that situation, not yet at least. But yeah, he runs up, and then I figured I just guessed, which is like normally what I do, obviously with a command grab. I was like, all right, well, he hasn't really done. First of all, I just blocked a bunch, right? I just blocked like a few shots, the RC to reset the pressure. So I figured, all right, you're probably gonna command grab. Also, you haven't done anything in the last like 1 second, you know, one to 2 seconds. So I just start holding up, and I was right. I was like, all right, nice, you know. Just wait. That time I think I got unlucky. Or sorry, he got unlucky. I didn't react to this in time. I thought when he did this sequence, I thought he was respecting me. Like after he fired that shot, I thought he was just trying to respect me from that situation. I was like, okay, he's not gonna press a button instantly after this shot. Why? Because it's on me, right? Like just in general, I thought he'd wait. So I'd press the button, but I think he didn't dash in deep enough to throw me. He might have just thrown me out of that 2K if he got a full dash into it. But I get pretty lucky that that works out. Also, this situation's kind of funny. This is like mostly on purpose. And that obviously I can just knock down off of this sequence, but the reason I choose to do armor dash is for like two distinct reasons. He has burst on deck, right? So if he bursts suddenly, especially because I'm in the corner, right? He got hit when he was holding the corner, right? So I was like, okay, there's a chance that you just burst because you don't want to give up the corner, right? You want to burst because you don't want to give up the corner. You want to burst because you don't have that much longer to wait before you're allowed to burst. And then even if you don't burst, most of the time from situations like this, I anticipate, especially characters like Johnny and Elphelt, they're going to backdash instead of waiting, right? And if you backdash, most of the time I lock in Yozansen because it catches backdash distance. Right? So like as soon as he did backdash, I was like, fuck it, Yozansen. Right? And it works out. That's kind of why you go for something like that. And most of it is just me being used to that context, right? Like I see the situation and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready for this. If he doesn't do anything and I don't get thrown out of armor dash, I'm just gonna throw him, right? It's a pretty like good situation for Bike in there. If they're not gonna be ready to throw the armor dash, you get a lot out of this one specific armor dash, based on like the context of the situation. But yeah, I also mess up here. If you hit max range Yazansen like that, you can just do Tatami. You can do Tatami into Claw, and the whole sequence is burst safe. So it was pretty questionable that I do air dash, but I mean it's just like tournament. Sometimes you're just like not thinking in tournament. You're just doing stuff that feels like it's gonna work. But I know in hindsight, like I could have done Tatami, Claw, and he just couldn't burst the whole sequence. He was just dead. There was no more burst points for him. That's how messed up that situation is. You do Tatami, Escabari, and then you input Tetsuzansen. And as Tetsuzansen's coming out, you just have to look to see if they burst, and that's it. If they burst, I had another 50 bar, so I just RC. That's just like Guilty Gear when you have 100 bar. Also, it was very unlucky. So I ran him down after his burst, mostly because I was terrified of him doing the sniper, right? That's why I immediately assumed I didn't even air dash because I knew it was faster to just run. Like as soon as I touched the floor, I just input run. Because I was like, I can't let him set up the sniper. If he sets up the sniper, I'm just dead, right? But he does high toss Pineberry, and I only did armor dash in case he pressed Fares here, right? In case he pressed Fares, in case he like double jumped. It seemed very unlikely. Like if I got really close to him and he hadn't pressed the button yet, I would maybe try to do super to see if I could catch him. But he inputs super like in this situation, and as soon as I saw the super flash, I was like, oh, that's so unlucky. You're just dead. You're just dead. I can buffer my input during your super animation. You're just dead. The Metsudo. That's just unlucky for him that happened. Unlucky in the sense that like I said, you could do this like anybody else. They'd have to block you, and it'd be your turn again off this super. But not biking with 50 meter. Even if I didn't have 50 meter, it would have been a pretty good super. Because I wouldn't be able to really do anything out of the armor dash. He would just get to low me for free. How would your round start? Oh wow, I'm surprised. I probably thought if I do ID JS at round start, I assume that you're gonna backdash. That's like my assumption. Then he catches me. That wasn't crouch it? That's surprising. At this point I'm just waiting. Yeah, it's pretty also I'll get to that in a second, but it's pretty tough, right? Eventually I'm just gonna Azami you. Like your character is just all about having strong mids. It's like eventually I'm just gonna let it rip, and it's just hard to deal with. Elphelt doesn't have much to punish it really. I guess you could try to 6p a crouch Azami like once it comes out, but it's like that thing's like 20 something frames anyway, so it's pretty much in the range of like 5D timings, I'm pretty sure. It's not like super duper amazing. It's just one of those things where general patience is like the best thing you have, which kind of sucks in the sense that like you can't do the thing that you're used to with your character. Like your character is usually very oppressive behind their mids, but that's not really the case against Baiken, obviously. And the idea there, I think, is like your most consistent way of beating Baiken in situations like that is like just get much better at blocking her. Get much better at blocking her and setting up situations where your mids aren't as bad. Situations off like if you IB the claw and stuff, and you can wait or you can jump forward, see what she does, right? But yeah. Also, CT has pretty much always bursted this sequence. This sequence is like relatively burst safe. Sometimes I mess it up, especially when people burst as the claw pulls them in. But if you burst on hit to getting hit by the first jab, you're pretty much just like done. The jab comes out, and then in the time the second jab cancels into it, it finishes by the time I'm holding up back for the combo. But before I need to press jump P, if that makes any sense, right? So it's a pretty like automatic sequence. I get CT like almost every time with it, and I just kind of do it in general because I don't know, it's just good. I lose a good chunk of damage, but early in rounds I don't really care. I'd say the only time I care is like if I'm in a deficit or something, I'll start doing Tetsuzan-sens to try to get your burst, right? Because it's a guaranteed burst point. But otherwise, like I'm generally just gonna do that. 6p. Oh, I should have 6p'd. I think it would have worked too, even against that dive kick. Backdash. Tatami? Oh, I should have done Tatami. Oh, I hella should have done that. He maybe could have thrown me for doing that. I saw him instant block, so I figured he would backdash. Even though that's contrary to what you would think, right? A lot of the times you would think when someone IBs, they would press a button, because I'm -2 now, so you can just press a button, and I won't be able to frame trap you at all, right? As long as you press like a quick button. Like if he presses like 5k here, it should hit me trying to frame trap with anything, right? But the idea is like I don't normally expect people to challenge me until they like understand that situation, and most people really don't. Unless they've like sat down and studied it. Most of the time I anticipate that when people instant block, they're just gonna backdash again because they think they have extra frame advantage to get away. Which is true, but it loses to double claw like that, right? Which is why I'll lock in double claw on IB every now and then. Because I'm just like, alright, you'll probably backdash off this. And if you jump, that's fine too. But I think he was close enough to throw me. Yeah, he was. He could have like mashed 4H, he would have got me probably. Maybe if I had 2K'd, he wouldn't. Because I was a little plus, but all the time I got kind of unlucky. I didn't expect to be in range of this. So I was trying to stand right here. So like my goal was I wanted to actually stand like right here. Because if I stand right here, I'm exactly out of the range of 5H. And I don't really care if you hold it or don't hold it. Once the fireball is shot, I would basically like fireball's gonna travel like that, and as soon as the fireball's out, I'm just gonna input IAD. Because it's just like a really, really good situation for me. Pretty much like no matter what happens. Just based on how long fireball takes to come out, it's a pretty good situation to be in, because if I'm standing right here and I shoot fireball and you see fireballs coming out, like one of two things is basically gonna happen. Either you're just gonna start blocking, which is fine because that's not bad for me obviously as I like air dash in, or you might YRC, right? But if you're gonna YRC, I'll see the slowdown before I approach, right? So I just won't approach, so I'll just get 25 meter out of you for basically nothing. If I had spaced correctly in that situation, I would have had that happen, and I think I do space it later on. But that time I don't. That time I don't, and I get punished for it. Luckily, it was a really like mediocre, but it was like one hit. Terrible burst. You should never burst there. I should know better. I get clipped. I'm pretty sure you can. I think you can burst her loading the Pineberry, but I'm not positive. But yeah, normally off of that counter hit, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to do Pineberry load, and you can burst that, I think. It's always interesting seeing how you think. I think I like doing it because it's good for me to like see moments where I do things that are questionable, because a lot of times you don't notice it till you go back and watch. And I think a lot of the times people don't have like a good understanding of why I do things that you probably don't see other Bikins do, like Fireball and stuff. Like a lot of Bikins don't use Fireball in certain ways. The Fireball is really nice if you know, hey, they're not going to move in this situation, because it comes out in like 30 frames or something like that. So you just need to know they're not going to move. Also, there's that thing I talked about earlier, right? So like I said, this sequence is really good against basically everyone else. But if I choose to Azami and input Sakura immediately, it just smokes 2D. Good on him to not input the special cancel early. If you buffer that special cancel, you'll get counter hit here. Right? So the fact that he didn't get counter hit is like really good on his part. He didn't special cancel too early. Oh, and I was sad about this. I was so sad about this. He mashed super, right, like on hit. I didn't plan on him getting hit by Tatami, and I couldn't hit confirm the situation like nearly fast enough. Because I thought with his 100 bar, he would block for one hit and then dead angle, right? So I immediately 2H'd off jab. The reason I 2H is because it low profiles a lot of dead angles. I think hers included, right? So you 2H to low profile the dead angle and get a punish on it, but he was just mashing super, so I got bodied. Had I just done it, it wasn't even that I dropped my combo, it was that I just didn't expect him to get hit on wake up, like at all. I just thought he'd block into like a dead angle. Claw. Oh, it's tough. What even happened there? So I do same thing I talked. Well, actually, this is like a slightly different version. If I do backdash claw, kind of like the same thing. I just don't expect you to move forward to punish me. And if you notice, the backdash makes it so that his jump forward doesn't punish me. So I like recover by the time he's landing. I even catch him out of forest. That's crazy. That's what happened. He thought I was an end lag still. He could have maybe done delayed air dash, but he was pretty like high up and a little too close to me. Sometimes when you're a little too close to people, it becomes difficult to do it becomes really difficult to do IADs in those situations. Or not IADs, air dashes in general, right? Like if he does it at this height, let me see. And I know this is like a really micro thing to analyze, but it's pretty important, and that it would affect whether or not he gets like really strong pressure or not from where he is. Where is it? So if he's like right here and he air dashes and I crouch, there's a chance that he'll just fly by me, right? Because I'm too low still, right? You need to make sure that people aren't too low, or you'll just fly right over them like that. And it's actually a big part of like how Baiken's knockdowns work. When she does that cross up and you can IED off of it. Whereas like if he can somehow time it to be like this low instead of that other height, there's a stronger chance that he would be low enough to the floor that he's not allowed to cross me up anymore. Like my crouching height would be like around here, and his character's lowest point would be like probably like around the same height, we'll say, like that. So the game wouldn't allow him to cross me up anymore, meaning that he could just like delay IAD, start a pressure string, right? Which is faster than doing what he had to do, which was landing and then pressing the button, right? And then he gets punished out of it. I miss up my initial air dash, so the Oki was a little worse, but he doesn't backdash out of it, so that's fine. I must have not known what to do there. No, that's kind of like a weird stagger to go for it. I wonder if I missed my 2S input. It's pretty rare to just stop on close slash. There's not really a reason to do it with Baiken. But yeah. Also, by this point in us playing, I would have assumed that he just respected me enough not to go ham on Fares off of redash all the time, right? If you've ever seen Elphelt against a lot of the other characters, they'll just press like Fares, microdash Fares. Not because it's plus or anything, but because you don't have a normal that can contest it. So they just get a counter hit against you pressing a normal. But I just kind of figured by this point, I was like, you probably are too scared of Azami. So I'm starting to press buttons in situations like that. Where he could have frame trapped easily, right? Oh, that was a good one. That's a really good air dash in that, like, he couldn't really punish me from this specific spacing. If you jump forward, but they do the claw from really far away, you can't really, like, press a button on the way down, right? Like, notice if he had pressed the button, he will most likely trade with Tetsuzansen. Maybe he wouldn't, but he'd most likely trade with Tetsuzansen, which would give me a combo on counter hit trade. Oh, see, that's the thing I was talking about. So this is like, it's exactly the situation from before, but this time I nail the spacing better, right? So I run forward, faint movement, right? Like he sees me running forward like this off of that, but as soon as I move forward, I stop, right? Like I just anticipate, I'm like, you're gonna press the stop sign that you have because that's just what your character gets to do, right? So now you see an actual example of what this looks like when I don't mess it up, right? You can see that like I stop right outside the range of fire of 5H, and the thing is, he doesn't even have the meter in this situation. So this is even better because even if he sees this happening, he can't really do anything about it if he locks in the extra hits of 5H. I'm not, dang, does that actually counter hit? It doesn't even look like he. That's crazy. If that actually just counter hit, that's godlike. I don't get any combo off of it, but it's one of those things where it's like, I need to create the idea that what you like to do in neutral doesn't work, if that makes any sense. Like, this is just like good fighting game kind of thing. You want to make sure that whatever thing your opponent is trying to get away with gets punished, regardless of how minimal the punish is. It's more that they just have to understand, oh wow, I can't just press 5H in neutral, right? So like you see that, this doesn't even combo, but I just know he's probably not gonna mash out, and even if he does, I don't really care, right? But you can see how just off that one exchange, I get my turn, right? It's crazy, right? How important like subtle things like that can really matter. Because like imagine he just got to press 5H and nothing happened here, right? And it's like, okay, well he just presses 5H and nothing happens. But the fact that I fireball is like the reason I get on top of him again like that, right? Bad combo. I should have done a Tetsuzansen off the claw. Oh, I don't know. Oh, that was me trying to throw. That's definitely me trying to throw and I messed it up. I'm definitely meant to move forward and throw, but I probably rolled my finger on the D-pad on accident. And then I jumped to see if he'll press a 4H just in case. Gets caught. I missed my combo. Also, this is like a good example of earlier I mentioned if Bikins do the jump H descending like this, even if you IB, you cannot throw them. That's how plus that normal is. If you do it on the way down. Attack level 4, so that thing is fat. That's crazy, that worked. So running slash is -2, right? It's kind of funny because I think the average person who like kind of understands Biken sees running slash on block and thinks, okay, it's -2. They're gonna press a zombie or they're gonna press a button, right? But that's not necessarily true. If I'm only -2, that means I can probably just mash backdash and get away, like before you can press a button, right? Because buttons take so long to be active, and it's very unlikely you're gonna press like a close slash here. You want something fast, right? So normally what I will do is my level 1 option is I just backdash. I just always like backdash, like to see how he presses 2k and I just backdash it. I always do backdash into 5H, and a lot of the times the 5H will catch something. But I was just off that time. I think her Fares pulls her too far back. I know that people dislike that about her, that her Fares, yeah, see, it retracts her hurt box. Right? Because if you see the spacing we're at, it should hit her. But as she Fareses, she pulls back like that, right? So 5H misses. That's kind of interesting. I didn't really notice that with her before. That means I should probably do backdash into claw against her. As scary as that is, it's still better. than this, because claw retracts my hurt box. So if I claw in this situation and they Forest, I should hit them. Probably, assuming they commit to the Forest. But yeah, against other characters, that 5H should hit. It's just I forgot that she pulls back on that. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, little things like that are kind of like why I say I go back on the analysis, even if I win. Because I actually had no idea that's the case. I never really noticed until I saw that just now. Backdash mash, yeah. Mashing backdash is so good there as Baiken, for the simple fact that, like, they're scared of a zombie, right? Like, you have to be. There's just some, like, I would do the same thing. If I was him, I would do the exact same thing in that situation. I would run up and I would FD break. Because if he does a zombie, you can throw him, right? But the problem is if they start mashing into buttons like this, it's just bad for you, right? Just get turned back. Nice. That's a true punish. If he IBs the running clash, 2K should be fast enough. If not, 2P for sure. Called out my backdash with super. Kind of smart though, right? If you think about it, I can see why he would do this, right? Because the thing is, this seems like holy shit. Like, he did this for a backdash, but imagine if he did run up this and I a zombie, right? This would probably also deal with the zombie really well, right? Which is why it's, in hindsight, like a really smart option. Because it has so many hits that it kind of like gives him time to... I think it might actually force the Azami glitch where it forces me to block out of Azami instead of letting me hold it. So it's actually pretty smart. It beat a lot of stuff on Link Up. I mistimed his combo sequence. Yeah, that's bad on me. I think I was probably mashing backdash here. I probably tried to IB that and then mash backdash, but I don't think you can. I think it's actually just 2+. Even when it's not a higher attack level, once the timer's lower, I'm pretty sure even just like the regular one, if you IB, I don't think you can backdash in time. Not if they do it right. Oh yeah. Oh, that's so good against her. I never thought about that. That's like extra good against her, right? So a lot of the times, this is kind of like textbook Baiken 101 stuff. Jumpy is godlike for just moving forward as an air-to-air at round start, because you're already recovered by like right here. See how she's like completely recovered? So against a larger portion of the cast, you can't do this against certain characters. You can't really do this against Venom, and I forget who else. I think Answer too. Anyone who has 6Ps that poke out really far, like horizontally specifically, can actually deal with this by just mashing 6P. But anyone else whose anti-air is like closer to their body will see you descending, like pretty much assume like, all right, well, you have to come down, right? Like, you're on the way down. I'm just gonna like anti-air you. I don't care if you FD, it's whatever. But Baiken can air dash back into Tatami or jump S, depending on what she thinks you'll do, right? If I think that you're gonna run forward, because you might call out the Tatami, because the Tatami has startup, right? So if you just run forward as she air dash backs, you can smoke her for it. But if I don't think that, I can do Tatami, right? If I had air dash back to Tatami here, Tatami hits right where that far S is. So like if I were to go back, where is it? So like from here, it's pretty much like if I air dash back into Tatami, it covers this space right here. And I land right there, right? So it's really amazing if I think you're just gonna press a normal in this space, like at all, like your anti-air at all, right? You can see how it just like destroys that space. And then the other thing, like the other situation is you can run up, right? Like if you run up and press a button, you'll catch me like right around here, because Tatami doesn't come out until I'm all the way on the floor already, right? So it's, to like counteract that, I'll just do air dash back and then I'll jump S, and jump S hits like this entire like range right here. I'll be like on the way down and jump S will cover that range. So if you move forward, you'll just get clipped by it right here. But you can see like what happens if you do the thing that got punished by Tatami, right? If you press a button that's normally like an anti-air or hits like kind of in front of you but not like far enough in front of you, then it'll look like what happens at this round start. It'll look like this. Or we'll just whiff like that and nothing happens. Which is good for me. I don't mind that. It means that like I only potentially got rewarded there, assuming you wanted to interact with that. I think I. Oh yeah, see, that's on my fireball. Whenever I do this, a lot of the times it's me thinking characters are gonna backdash, right? You see how he was moving forward as I do this? I'll lock in the fireball early because characters like Elphelt and Johnny like to backdash here a lot because they're characters that are really good at moving forward, stopping like right before you would run into them, like as you're both running forward, and then pressing a button to destroy you for pressing a button, trying to catch them where they would be. But he kind of like does some air stuff instead. Oh, that's pretty scary. He might have been able to anti-air if he hadn't pressed close slash that early. Oh yeah, I bursted because I wasn't sure if he'd combo into that Pine Berry that was just tossed behind me. So I was playing it safe. Up toss. That's crazy. I remember this happening in a match and I was like, good lord. Jump S is so good. Jump S is so good. Look at this tech interaction. I've never seen this. Look how good Jump S is. Jump S actually counter hit him out of 5H on startup. That's ridiculous. That's so tight to see. Good dead angle. Good in the sense that like I just didn't really expect him to dead angle that early. It probably caught me mashing backdash. Yeah, what did I do there? I tend to do this a lot, but I should just Azami, man, if I think they're gonna do this. Or try to Azami the sweep, right? So he throws the Pine Berry on me, and he throws the non-leveled up Pine Berry, right? Because if you didn't know, when Elphelt's Pine Berry flashes red, it has more block stun. It raises an attack level, so it has more block stun. So I beat the regular one like this. And I thought I could press a button. I probably pressed 2K, right? No, I jabbed, yeah. I thought I could jab him out of this because of the IB and the fact that it was the lower attack level Pine Berry, but he still counter hits me out of it, which is like just bad. I should have just like Azami'd my way out of there or just blocked, obviously, right? But doing that IB into a button press is it's just not good. It's like relying on him to mess up, basically. Oh, I didn't expect him to do that. Simply because she's pretty good at blowing that up by just holding Azami in that range. But I thought maybe he'd play it a little safer, right? Because I end up right here. If I hadn't done anything, I would have kept Suzeraning through this bridal that came out, right? Because this is also like a textbook Elphelt setup where Elphelts will pull the Pine Berry, air dash back, toss it, and then cover themselves with the Pine Berry as they do bridal, right? So pulls it, ID back, toss, and then you bridal, right? Because the idea is if they get hit, it combos, I think, because of the Pine Berry hit. I might be wrong about that, but I know that in general, even no matter how close you end up to them, basically, you pretty much always get pushed by that bridal into the nade, and the nade will make it safe. Like you can see it coming down on them like that, right? Oh, you do get a combo. That's crazy. So that's for them. That's like normally a really hard to deal with setup. And I don't know. From my experience, obviously with Biken, I can just Azami or Suze it on the bridal, so like it doesn't really matter. But if I was a regular character, I would probably, off this setup, I think it's kind of depressing, but I think like not really interacting with it is probably like the best way to deal with it. So like, if your character is like right here, like where Biken, oops, I thought I was on the OBS whiteboard. If your character is like where I just was before I did Suzerain, so if you're, let me see, if you're like right here, I would say if you have a strong air to air, like something that you can throw out and recover from instantly, I'd probably just like jump air to air like in this space to get the nade off and then air dash back like that. But because she's gonna be where you used to be. But you should be high enough that close slash shouldn't anti-aerial, I'm pretty sure, like at that height. So I would say that's probably like the way I'd deal with it if I was a normal character. Like if I wasn't Biken and I couldn't just Suze it on her or do that. I busted out the whiteboard. Yeah, I busted out the whiteboard. I'd been meaning to set up OBS whiteboard. You asked me if I was free by 8, so I was like, okay, I can probably analyze one set because it takes me forever to do it. And And there's still the grand finals of this set. But I was behind on analysis, so I need to get it out of the way. Almost cheap. Yeah, see, that time I was just over it. After a while, I was like, this is dumb. I'm just going to Azami him. If he's going to do all his Elphelt setups, I just need to Azami him. My job to, like, teach him that he can't do that. That was a really good throw. Yeah, see, that time he waits. I didn't even IB it. I meant to IB. Also, I don't know why I did stand block. That was awful. Why did I stand block that? You're about to eat. Let me know when you're ready. I'll probably, like, finish this around the time you're done eating. Yeah, why did I stand block that? That was awful. That's crazy that combos. Oh, I got lucky. Good throw. Oh, that's unlucky. What even how did he like not press a button, right? So throw OS off the armor dash to recover faster. I have no idea how he crossed me up like that off of a neutral jump. I guess I Suzerained a little too close. That sucks. And then he landed and pressed the button and he got thrown out of it. Should have pressed the button on the way down, but I guess he was scared of a zombie. But if they commit to the armor dash and get the throw us, you don't watch it. I want you to know this isn't the same tournament. I'm behind on analysis, so this is like 3 tournaments ago. I need to do the one that happened last week, and I need to do the one that just happened that I won. This is 9/14. Yeah, this is 9/14. I'm glad you noticed the date. Yeah, cheap stuff. Oh, I should have baited it. So, you never want to burst instantly off this. Just in general. Like, anytime Roman cancel confirms like this happen, you should probably never instantly burst. Simply because, like, they can just wait and combo. But I locked in. I didn't even do the right confirm. You're not supposed to do Tatami on her. She's too light. You have to do IAD jump D. You can do Tatami on, like, heavyweights or, like, middleweights, and it usually works out. Oh, see, I think I tried it. Did I try it again? I probably did, right? Let me see. I did, see? Like, I'm so used to trying to do this, but this spacing is so hard to get against Elphelt. But you can see that, like, I'm comfortable with this in the matchup a lot, because anytime you're about this far from Elphelt, she just fires the gun, right? Like, legitimately, anytime there's this much of a gap between you and her, she just fires the gun. Because it hits, like, a lot of people IEDing anyway. It hits, like, this high, dude. It's just this giant, like, rectangle up here, right? So even if you IAD, like, I'd probably go over it just barely, because my character's IAD is really good. But they'll just YRC before you get to them anyway. And then obviously you can't run under it unless you're like Milia, I think. Milia and maybe like some other characters. Which is why I know, like, once there's that much of a gap between my spacing and hers, I usually load the fireball pretty early. Like, see, you'll see the fireball already coming out. But if I misspace it, I think I just hadn't retracted my hurt box yet. That might have been why. She sticks her hand out like that for a second. So I might have gotten hit off that. I mess up again. And then I just didn't expect them to be so degenerate. I didn't expect them to just fucking do it again. But I should have seen that coming. Catches me with the frame trap. Then I get a blow up for it. How's that? Just 1-1, I think? Not 2-1. Am I scared by now at round start? Wow, I'm not. That's crazy. I really was just waiting. I was just every round start. I was like, you're gonna backdash at round start. You're Elphelt, and he never did it once. Oh, and you can see the fear in my heart, dude. I was after those like initial rounds, I was not trying to give him space to set up the rifle, which is why as soon as he IEDs that way, I just chased him down. I was unlucky. At least he didn't get a combo off of it. That's crazy. That's happened more than once now. Jump S is so good. Look at this. Jump S is so good. Invul frames through the hitbox and then counter hit. It actually just hits that far. If I was a little closer, I'd get a knockdown off jump D. Oh, I got lucky. Oh, I got super lucky. This was such a scramble. Those last like 3 seconds were such a scramble. Oh, that time I waited. I waited to see if he'd press a button. I do it every now and then. CT should interact with this more. He's hit this IB like 2 or 3 times already in the set. And every time he's done it, he just regularly blocks as far as I can tell. But it's like, you hit that IB, I'm gonna like not instantly do stuff, right? Or I'm gonna backdash or etc. Use it on throw, you gotta throw it. I got nothing else to say except you just gotta throw it on reaction, dog. It's slow. Like 28 frames. Plus me throwing you. So it's like 30 frames before the grab is done. Oh, that was lucky. Oh yeah. That's just like, yeah. That was like pretty shitty that I did it off that. I think. So I got lucky that he got counter hit. I'm assuming he 2S'd as soon as he did that FD. He probably thought he was too far, and I'm gonna hard guess that he just inputted 2S, and that's what he got counter hit doing. What is that? That looks like the animation. That's either 2S or 2H. It's like one or the other. But yeah, he gets counter hit 2H combos in a claw. I was probably doing that block string anyway, if I'm being honest. I never hit confirm that counter hit very much. I just kind of do it. But it does combo on counter hit. I should have done, if I had done 5k 5H, I think it's just burst safe anyway. But I do far S into the hard bait. Hard in quotations, because it's not like he's throwing me out of this shit anyway. But hard in the sense that you could punish me for doing this burst bait if you just are ready. But he's not, so I get away with it. I messed up my key to, or I messed up my delay air dash again. I still get it to Tommy anyway. Oh, I just won it at that point. Eventually, if you're just gonna give it to me, I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna throw you. I got no shame. I won this tournament off just doing that 8 times to Sky. I did it so many times to Sky. Oh my god, I hate Elphelt. What did I mess up? I think I did the first jump S too close. You're supposed to do sweep? Yeah, I did. I did jump forward, didn't I? Yeah, you're supposed to neutral jump there. If you neutral jump off that confirm, she doesn't get close enough to you that this happens. Because this is because I'm too close to her. She crosses me up. I should have supered. That would have been like the 5-head thing to do there. But because I know it's plus there, like how far he did it, but I don't know why I pressed the button still. Like I just shouldn't have. But I pressed the button so I get smoked for it. Press 5k too. It's weird. I might have wanted Suzanne. Am I dead? No, I have like way too much HP. I probably messed up. I probably did not want raw 2H. I probably wanted 2S into 2H. And I didn't get the 2S input. It's very rare that I do raw 2H out of me blocking. Because it's like, that moves like 20 something frames to start up. It's really long. I probably wanted 2S before I did that, and I just didn't time it. Dude, you know it would have been such a dope flex. I could have done, as soon as he blocked this far S, I could have done Kita to Tommy because of the explosion, probably. Probably. But I didn't think about it in the moment. Yeah. That's one of those things where it's like, if your character has a dive kick option to delay your descent, I'm just gonna hold a zombie. Like, I'm gonna hold it specifically. Because if you do a regular jump in, or you do that, I don't care. It catches both. Yazansen? Yeah. Yazansen's the only ender you get there. As far as I can tell. This hit from too far. She's like too high, right? So if you did air dash jump S here, it wouldn't connect properly. It would like, she'd get hit too high off of the initial jump S, and she would fall out of the combo. She wouldn't get hit by the JD. So instead, the only thing that you can do off of this as an ender is you can do air dash into Yazansen, and it hits him. And then it's not so bad, because you can see as they tech, you're already doing claw like that. And then the irony is I fucked up the combo. So he's actually so high again that I had to do Yazansen again as like the ender. But I was like, nah, that's fine. I'm just going to move forward and cross him up. Off tech forward. But it was pretty funny that I messed up the combo twice. Like the way it works. Cheap stuff. I just dead. I didn't even want to charge Blitz. Because I was like... I'll be honest. I kind of like lose track of round counts while I'm playing sometimes. Only time I like pay attention to round count is like when I'm getting ready to burst. I look at the rounds and stuff. But a lot of the times in moments like that, like I forget about the round count. So I just did 6H in case he mashed out, right? Like even if it had been the first round, I wouldn't have done charge blitz. I still would have done 6H. I'm just too scared to mess up that kind of thing. Finally calls out CTWarrior at round start with just like a regular button. That's just, you can't do that, man. I held it so early too, because I know that that's 0. I know that that's 0 on block, on regular block. Get it? I missed my follow up, right? Yeah, I sometimes I buffer the Escabari too early, and that happens. It's unfortunate. Nice. Yeah, counter hit me again, mashing. That time he caught me. I was just holding up in case he threw me, but I was bad. It was bad in that I did an FD. I shouldn't have gotten hit like that. He could have comboed me off of it. That was a really good jump. And also, like, another example of, like, sometimes I don't throw OS because I am too scared at the chance that I might not get the throw input. Like, if I run up and they block 6k point blank there, I know it's because I messed up throw OS. So every now and then I'll just input it with H. It's like a risk reward thing. I'm like, I'd rather just get it than him get to block here. Also, CT does that a lot, man. CT does that like way too much. Anytime there's like a splash to Tommy like that, in front of me, he always does IAD or like jump forward, and they always get caught by S-Claw like all the time. He just needs to chill. Fireball, running slash, yeah, running slash just to get close to them. Cause like I didn't expect them to do anything. That's just guilty gear. I just mashed far S and it whiffed, so I mashed IRC when it whiffed. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm like running in. I'm running in way too hard the last like 3 or 4 seconds. If he just pressed buttons, he would get me running in. It was 100% just me playing like shit. The last like 6 seconds or so, like decision making wise. That was like a frame trap. He was just frame trapping me towards the end. I wasn't willing to respect it. I was like, yeah, I'll just press some buttons. Oh, I messed up my confirm. Normally I do. So, the reason I do this, I don't know. I just like this situation. Because I think the situation is pretty good as long as my opponent isn't good at abusing it with like the appropriate block style, if that makes any sense. So she gets a safe jump here, right? But a lot of the times I forego the safe jump in exchange for just if I do the safe jump setup a lot of the times depending on spacing. So like this is an example of, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at the spacing with this hit at. Yeah, so from this spacing, if I do the safe jump, like the cross up safe jump to not stay in the corner, I land too close to them so that they can throw me, right? Which means that if I do the cross up safe jump with super jump, if I go high, they can blitz me. And if they don't feel like blitzing and they don't feel like blocking, then they can input throw OS because I'm too close to them on the cross up one that I get thrown, right? So it turns into like a potential 50-50. So instead of dealing with that, I would rather just do a not safe jump in front of them like this, land, and then it's one or the other, right? I'm either gonna sweep. Sweep is out of range of throw, so if you wake up with throw OS, you're just like toast. Or I'm gonna land with Tatami, which loses to stand blitz, but will give me like way better pressure. Or I'm gonna delay air dash, right? But the idea is I like this situation a lot, because it's like pretty manageable. It feels like I still have a lot of control over the situation instead of trying to safe jump you and then the safe jump puts me in a situation where it feels like you have a lot of control. Like, oh, he might stand blitz or he might throw OS. And I kind of have to like guess. If you don't want to block, I have to guess which one you want to do, right? Where it feels like here, it's like, that's fine. I can just go low. And even if you block it, I don't really care, right? But it would be you doing stand blitz if you thought I was tataming or doing delayed air dash, right? The thing I mess up is normally I do sweep into tatami instantly. It's pretty bad in the sense that if my opponent blocks, they can IB twice. They can IB 2D and they can IB tatami. And I'm in a terrible spot. I'm like -7 and I'm super close to you. So my turn is just over. Like I can't Azami out of there really. I can maybe mash backdash, but it's kind of scary. But you could really like force me into that situation if you just waited, right? I didn't even sweep, so that's why I'm saying it's bad on my part. Normally you're supposed to just like lock in the sweep. Oh my god, what even happened? That was so sloppy. The blitz was weird. There was like no reason to blitz there, I think. I probably just blitzed because I figured he'd respect the Azami. And blitz would let me kind of like do more stuff out of that situation. But either way, like the nade is like right there, and it's just pretty awkward in general, even after you tap blitz. You got me. I probably thought he was gonna mash 5k, so I ran up 6k to try to low crush it. Hell yeah, mash a zombie on frame traps. Eventually, it's just gonna have to work. Oh yeah, that's tough. He pressed the second 5H in a range where he can't, right? So I whiffed the first 2H and I just crouch on recovery. And as soon as I saw him input the next 5H, I was like, oh, you're toast. I can just 2H before you can do anything about this. Like, you'll just get hit by this, pretty much. Not much you can do about it. I mess up the air dash, but I get lucky. Because he mashed. I catch him. I should have just on some there. That would have been really smart. Because I could have done YRC like that, which is fine if he jumps. And then if I Azanson, I'd probably catch him doing anything. And I had a lot of meter to keep it safe. But I try to go for the air throw and he double jumps out of it, which is really smart on his part. 5H the god. Nice. I probably wanted a super mash, which is why I got caught standing. Yeah, it auto times for everything. It auto times for tatami, it auto times for safe jump stuff too. Oh, I'm so good. I have moments where I'm like, yes, I am good at video games. Terrible burst. I shouldn't have bursted that, but he misses a punish, so I get lucky. But this was sick. I knew as soon as he did this S, I did it like frame one. I was like, dude, he's 0 on block. 0 on block means you can just input the command grab because you're not plus. This is legitimately like one of the best times to do her command grab because you're just literally 0 on block, which is fucked up. Because you can just command grab raw here, or you can press a 3-frame normal. So it's so messed up. So I just instantly IED out of the corner, and he does go for the command grab. That was just one of those moments where I was like, yes, it feels good to guess right. And then I actually stopped moving forward after a while. Or sorry, not moving forward. I stopped moving back around here. Once he did that PRC, I did this backdash, and I kind of like stopped moving back. Because I was like, okay, I need to catch him like overextending in some way. And sure enough, he did. He did this, and then he air dashed. And I got like an opening off of it. Yeah. I love that throw. That throw is pretty scary to go for, but it's like so good to do that little like FD break throw like that. Because you can do FD break 6k, and it's like such a good mix up. In terms of like, you just gotta pick. It's really hard to react to both. The spacing is like super similar. Dude, I was not letting him set up the rifle. Same thing I talked about earlier too. If you have air options like the dive kick, I'm just gonna hold the zombie in the air a lot because it's way better against your character, unless you're paying attention to me doing that a lot. Because that would beat me just like 6ping that dive kick. That's the whole point of doing that dive kick. I don't get an extension here. Yeah, so I just do claw. This only catches people overextending, but you can't really punish me for doing it, which is why I'll do it, right? So like at this range, you can delay tech forward, you can neutral tech forward. It doesn't really matter. I'm just so far that the claw only hits if you overextend like that. And like never any other time. And then same thing as before. That's just burst safe. You cannot burst the first hit after that. It's just burst safe. You can kind of burst it on the way in. Like you can burst it as it pulls you in, and I find that kind of hard to time. But like if you do it on this, you can always see it. Like second jab a whiff, and then I air block like that. It's just that fast. That's just like, you just can't burst there. 6k. Oh, I caught him trying to mash throw. Yeah. If you faultless this, I just know I'm like, dude, you cannot throw me off of that. It's already hard enough to throw her regularly. God forbid you faultless defense. There's no chance you're throwing me. 2H? I should have 2H'd off that 5k. That'd have been nicer. Did I kill off that? Oh, I'm bad. Could I have killed if I had done... No, I needed to do the dust loop. So if I had done anti-air claw for the hit confirm here, it wasn't going to kill. I don't think it does enough damage to get through guts. But if I do this into a loop, like I'm supposed to link a 5k here, but I mess it up. Like I time it too early probably, so it just doesn't come out. But that dust loop should kill. The other route wouldn't, but that dust loop would kill. But I messed it up and get thrown out of it. And at this point, I'm just chicken blocking for my life. Dude, I'm telling you, he could have just kept the sniper out. The sniper was getting me so much, but he He stops, I get close, and then he gets anti-aired. But yeah. Yeah, that was that set. It was a pretty interesting set. I think like for CT, it's kind of funny. I feel like CT is probably the best at getting like good IBs against me, but he never makes use of them. I think he just doesn't understand Biken's like frame advantage stuff enough, maybe, except for like the really obvious stuff like oh, I IB'd running slash, so it's a true punish, right? But like IBing the claw and being ready to play RPS off of that if you want to. Or IBing to Tommy and like understanding when I'm too close to like try to run away from you. Stuff like that is like really important in the matchup. Also, just like normal, like you just have to throw Suzerain throw or try to. Suzerain throw is one of those things where like it shouldn't work more than like once in a set, really. And it's more than just like I don't think people should jump out of it. I know a lot of the times like when I fight people in rev2sdays these days, they jump out of armor dash throw quite a bit, but I don't really like it that much because the whole point is that it's unsafe. I'm committed to that animation for 28 frames. So if you wait a good bit and then input a throw OS forward, it beats me pretty much doing like anything. Like even trying to do like the frame trap stuff, the throw OS will save you from getting frame trap, trying to tech with 4H, right? Or trying to throw me with 4H. Instead, you should just input like a throw OS. If your character can do it. Obviously, characters like Leo and Venom can't really do it. But characters that can input throw OSs, it's like really good to do that. Because you don't want to just get away from Suzerain throw. You want to punish her for doing it. That's like the idea. You want to force her to have to tick throw you in situations, not just get it for free off Suzerain throw every now and then. Or you just jump out of Suzerain throw, and that's not the worst thing ever. Like, you want to make her pay for it. And then other stuff like even recently, I played CT this past Tuesday, and he was still running into those anti-air claws. Like, I would do the textbook setup with Biken, where with Biken you do like move forward, air dash back, and then to Tommy, like as you're descending, and it covers the space right in front of you on the floor. And then as soon as you land, you just input anti-air claw because there's nothing they can really do about it unless their character has like a multi-hitting projectile, I guess. Like Leo can do like fireball and it'll eat the first hit of Tatami and then hit her like with the second one. But otherwise it's like it's relatively safe for her to do. And you just don't want to really interact with it. Where like CT would just air dash a lot into them, and it's like you can't do that. That's just bad, and that it gives me like so much reward. You legitimately just have to kind of like let her do that. And then in the future, if it looks like she's trying to set up that Tatami, you want to like run her down before she can do it and press a button and you'll catch her coming down. It seems really scary, but like it's one of those things where when you get it like once or twice, you kind of understand the idea of it. Like, I'll show that. That'll be like the very last thing I show here. Because CT, I would say he does a lot right, but most notably, I think getting caught by that claw is just something that cannot happen. And I mean that like just straight up. It just can't happen. It's one thing if you get Suzerain throwed, etc. Like that stuff just happens. But the idea is like that claw is like a relatively uninteractive setup, and you just shouldn't like get caught by it. It's kind of like if you just ran into like Kai anti-airs all the time whenever he just like whiffed the button on the ground or something. And yeah, this will be the last thing. It's gonna take like 2 seconds, and then I'm gonna kill my stream and all that stuff. I just wanted to do like one little quick analysis. But I want to also show it. I want to show what this looks like, for like what it looks like when you challenge Vikings who do this, and the idea behind like the RPS that goes into it. Because she's amazing when she does retreating options like this. Right, so should be fine. Right, so like if you're playing neutral with her and she does that to you, you just can't ever do this. Do you see how like it creates the illusion that you can jump in on her if you're like paying attention to the spacings? Right, so like if you do that, it looks like, oh, you know, Tatami, he just landed. I should jump in on him. Way louder in case you wanted to adjust the volume from last time. No, that's fine. I don't mind the music being like super quiet. I can turn the game up, I guess, a tiny bit. A lot of the times I like the music to be like very, very faint. Turn that up though. But yeah, so like looking at this situation, you just it's fucked up because it always looks like if you space around the tatami, you can get a jump in, right? Like this is like the illusion that it creates, but it's an illusion. You can't just do that, right? You'll see how like it's designed to punish that from happening in pretty much like every situation. That's why this can feel so strong, and normally the counterplay is doing that to her. Is anticipating that she'll just move back kind of preemptively like that. Like as soon as you see her move forward, you can do stuff like that to her, right? And obviously like if you're Soul, you can get a combo off something like 5H, right? Like playing the neutral off that. Or just run up 6k, wall bounce, etc. But I think people don't really notice that about how you want to play against Baiken in those situations. You want to stay grounded when you think that she's going to jump and do stuff like that. You want to stay grounded, and once she starts setting up the situation, you just commit preemptively. The problem is she can kind of harass you for doing that by doing this. Like that, see? Jump S is a lot faster, and the trajectory it hits at covers people running in usually. Unless you're like Milia. Milia's pretty good at getting around this. But in general, like, if you were like, oh, I'm going to run up and call Tatami out, unless you're reacting like crazy fast, which is unlikely, you'll just get hit by it. Especially at the spacings I'm normally doing it, which is like right there. You can, and I guess Soul's actually probably got a better anti-air for it, because it's like really upper body invul. But in general, it's pretty bad at it. At challenging, and whenever she does that, then you can start doing the thing that you were doing before, which was like, oh, I'm gonna jump behind her like that. You can do it then a little bit more consistently. You just want to watch out for like air zombies in those spots. But yeah, specifically for CT, I just think the amount of these that I get off against him is like way too much. Like those. He like always gets caught by them. And like I said, like it's just one of those sequences it's pretty hard to interact with once she sets it up, which is why it's important to recognize the situation as it's happening and not after the fact. Because after the fact is tough. Once that tatami is set and she's just doing that, like it's just like guaranteed as heck. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say.